Welcome to Girl of Recaps. Today I am going to explain thriller movie from 2015 titled Superhost. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Teddy and Claire are the couple behind Superhost, a YouTube channel dedicated to reviewing vacation properties for rent. They were very successful once upon a time, but lately, they've been losing followers at an alarming rate. This has created some strain in their relationship, especially since they've been borrowing funds from Teddy's parents to get by, but he's planning to improve things by proposing to Claire during their next trip. Their next destination is a beautiful house in the mountains that they had tried to book for months and was always reserved, until now. The host's username is BettyLou52, and they have a nearly flawless record. When they arrive there, though, they aren't able to get inside because the code they were given for the alarm isn't working no matter how many times they attempt it. Calling the host is impossible as well because there's no reception, so while waiting, they decide to record some clips for their video. The couple is suddenly startled by a figure appearing behind them. It's the host, whose real name is Rebecca, and the way she gazes at them is rather unsettling, to say the least. Her laughter is somewhat disturbing as well. Rebecca has come over when she saw Teddy and Claire waiting outside on the security cameras, and she apologizes when they inform her about the alarm code, explaining that she changed it after the previous guests didn't want to leave and forgot to send the new one to them. After providing them with the new code, Rebecca shows them the interior of the house, which is as gorgeous as the website claimed. While Teddy examines the restroom, Claire takes out the camera to film some more and introduce the host to their viewers, but Rebecca turns around and shouts, "No," when the camera is on her. This is odd because Claire had communicated with the host while booking the house and explained what they did, and the host had agreed to appear in the video. Rebecca changes her mind and agrees to be filmed after saying it's the peak season, and she thought the YouTubers weren't arriving until next week. Teddy returns to inform her that the toilet isn't flushing, so Rebecca promises she'll come back the next day with some tools to fix it. Once Rebecca is gone, the couple records a tour of the house, highlighting various features like the bed and the oven, but also the oddities. The windows have no coverings, a storage room in the basement has a do not enter sign, security cameras are everywhere, and there's a cat room but no cat. Claire isn't very satisfied with the video but tells Teddy to upload it anyway, which will take a while because the internet here is extremely slow. They step out onto the balcony to have a brief discussion about their situation, since Claire is concerned they've already reached their peak and there's no going back, but Teddy tells her that if that's the case, then he's at least glad they've reached it together. Later, in the dead of night, Teddy can't rest, so he goes to check on the video, but it hasn't finished uploading yet. Needing some fresh air, he disables the alarm and steps out onto the balcony, where he notices Rebecca standing by the road and gazing at him with luminous eyes. When she raises her hand to wave at him, he's startled by something suddenly appearing beside him, but it's just Claire. When he looks back at the road, Rebecca is gone. The next morning, they discover their channel has been suspended, and Claire blames it on a negative review they recently posted. She leaves the house to find a better signal on her phone in order to call the YouTube helpline and encounters Rebecca, who has come to fix the toilet and continues to awkwardly interact with Claire even while she's trying to tell her she's on the phone and can't talk right now. Rebecca goes inside after Claire instructs her to see Teddy, and she begins working on the malfunctioning toilet. She takes it slow at first, but as the toilet still won't flush, frustration overtakes her and her actions become somewhat more aggressive. Eventually, she gives up and tells Teddy she'll need to bring in a specialist. As she expresses her hope aloud that this won't affect their review, Rebecca returns inside and informs them that due to the unreliable signal, she lost the call after she finished providing them with their account details. Moments later, the couple heads out for a walk in the forest. Claire wonders why they're continuing with this if they're losing subscribers, and Teddy says he simply enjoys making these videos with her. This isn't enough for her. She's still annoyed by the fact that they can't even cover their rent, so she decides to cut the walk short and head back to the house. While reviewing the footage they've taken so far, Claire can't help but focus on a clip of Rebecca repeatedly, where her face looks particularly unsettling. Later that night, the couple is roused by noises coming from outside the house. Claire wants to call the police but has no reception, so she sends Teddy to double check that the alarm is activated. He finds that it is, indeed, functioning properly, but he turns it off and on again just to be sure. He's about to return to his room when he hears another noise, this time coming from the bathroom. When he goes there to investigate, he discovers that the toilet is now working, and what had been blocking it is a set of teeth. The next morning, Teddy wakes up to find a notification from YouTube saying their account is active again. In a better mood now, he goes downstairs in his underwear and finds Rebecca in the kitchen, preparing breakfast for them as a way to make amends for all the issues they've been having in the house. Teddy rushes back upstairs, and the couple doesn't come down until Rebecca has left. Claire admits the breakfast is delicious, and finding the whole situation rather entertaining, she jokingly thanks the security camera for the meal. But they're startled to hear Rebecca responding through the camera as if she's been observing them the entire time. Afterwards, they record a trip update for their channel, and Claire wants to tell the viewers about their eccentric host, but Teddy points out that Rebecca might be listening. Since that room is the best one to film in, Teddy decides to turn off the security camera and almost gets injured by a stone that suddenly flies in from outside and shatters the window. The couple rushes out of the house and encounters Vera, the owner of the house they gave a negative review. She's the one who reported their channel and broke the window, furious because their review damaged her business and forced her to sell the house. Rebecca arrives then and, after seeing the damage to the window, tells Vera to leave or she'll call the police. At first, Vera doesn't comply, as she wants to warn Rebecca about the couple's malicious intentions, but only manages to provoke Rebecca, causing her to shout and threaten her with violence. This frightens Vera enough to finally depart. Now that she has some free time, Rebecca agrees to film the interview for the review of her house. She's quite anxious, so to calm herself, she yells very loudly before listening to the questions Teddy has for her. Rebecca shares that the house used to belong to her father, and she inherited it after he passed away. She feels it's wonderful to have this property as a way to remember him, and it's convenient to keep an eye on it because she has a much smaller residence nearby. Getting into the the rental business was a result of her believing the house shouldn't remain vacant. After zoning out for a few seconds, she responds to the next question, recounting the guests she remembers most, an elderly couple who invited her to spend the holidays with them. Rebecca begins zoning out again with tears in her eyes, so Teddy concludes the interview there. Later in the evening, while reviewing the footage, the couple notices how unsettling Rebecca appears on the screen, and Claire decides they should capture more of her, because people enjoy watching eccentric individuals. After she goes to bed, Teddy records a brief secret update, informing the viewers that he plans to propose to Claire the following day, completely unaware of the shadow observing him through the window. Sometime during the night, while both vloggers are asleep, the video with the interview stops uploading because the internet is out, and Rebecca spends a long time watching them sleep with fury in her eyes. The next day, Teddy and Claire take another walk in the forest. Claire is trying to capture more footage for their videos, but Teddy has her put the camera down so he can propose. Claire gladly accepts, but after they embrace, she brings the camera over again, thinking it's all a performance to get more views on their channel. Hurt and disheartened, Teddy tries to leave, but Claire stops him and apologizes, promising they'll discuss this when they return home. No cameras allowed. When they get back to the house, the alarm starts sounding and the code won't turn it off. Rebecca's voice suddenly comes from one of the security cameras, apologizing for the damaged panel as the alarm finally ceases. After she tells them she'll come over to fix it, Claire notices their computer in the middle of the living room floor, playing Rebecca's interview. Teddy finds another odd thing when he picks up the mail. There's a letter for Betty and Lou Jorgensen, which matches Betty Lou 52. The username they spoke to when renting this house. Now frightened, Teddy starts packing, wanting to leave the house as soon as possible. Claire is hesitant because she thinks there's an opportunity for a great video here, but when the security cameras start taking turns beeping, she changes her mind and rushes to the car with Teddy. The couple drives away, believing they're safe, but they find themselves needing to halt the car when they spot Rebecca standing in the middle of the road and waving at them. She doesn't appear too upset by their departure earlier than anticipated, but she does insist on showing them one final surprise and requests that they bring the camera with them. Teddy is reluctant, but Claire persuades him to change his mind, saying that a bit more footage of her could help create an excellent video, and if they become successful, they won't need to borrow money anymore. With the camera recording, they follow Rebecca into the forest, where she mocks Claire for the absence of a ring on her finger before shouting and zoning out again before repeating the introduction the couple usually uses in their videos. As they venture deeper into the woods, she also attempts to startle them, laughing maniacally as she leads them to the last thing she wants to show them. It's Vera, sitting under a tree with her hands bound and tape over her mouth. Rebecca produces a knife and forces Claire to record everything, threatening to harm Vera if they don't comply. She explains that she feels remorseful that their visit wasn't very pleasant, and that she has discovered the couple isn't as flawless as they pretend to be in their videos, so she has decided they should exploit this. Without hesitation, she crouches next to Vera and stabs her, which upsets Teddy and Claire greatly and causes them to drop the camera. Rebecca panics and asks them to film this properly for the channel, but her frustration abruptly fades when she helps Vera, who isn't dead, stand up, removing the tape and untying her. It turns out it was all a hoax to teach them a lesson for what they did to Vera's business, and Rebecca even takes the camera from them and hands it to Vera to sell so she can recover at least some of the money she's lost. When the two women try to leave, Teddy asks Rebecca about what happened to Betty and Lou. Realizing she's been exposed, Rebecca removes her jacket and apologizes to Vera before actually stabbing her this time, first in the face, then repeatedly in her abdomen. Teddy and Claire immediately begin running away, and Rebecca seizes the opportunity to pick up the camera to record herself while pursuing them. The couple decides to return to the house, thinking the car isn't an option because Rebecca will likely wait for them there. At first, they lock themselves inside, but then Teddy decides to venture out again to try to get enough reception to call the police. He doesn't last long, though. As soon as he hears some noises in the forest, he rushes back inside with Claire, who is now trying to alert the authorities by using the emergency button on the alarm, but it isn't functioning. Suddenly, Rebecca appears outside, looking at them through the window with their car keys in her hand. They monitor her actions through the window, and when she approaches the door, they press their bodies against it to prevent her from entering. Claire attempts to persuade her that they will erase all the footage and won't disclose what happened, but Rebecca doesn't trust them and simply walks away. Desperate to find another escape route, Claire enters the restricted storage room while Teddy watches the windows. Inside, she discovers a sleeping bag, a dish with a mug, and a functioning computer, suggesting Rebecca was deceptive about having a nearby place. She has been living in the basement all this time. Through the computer, Claire gains access to all the security cameras and watches Teddy retrieve a fireplace poker to defend himself before stopping in front of one of the cameras. Since she doesn't have access to audio, she isn't aware that Rebecca is speaking to Teddy, telling him she killed Betty, Lou, and their cat for not letting her stay in the house with them. She nearly got away with it, but the couple arrived just before she could escape. Claire realizes the computer has internet connectivity, so she records a brief video for her channel asking their viewers to call for help. As it starts uploading, Rebecca appears behind her, revealing she has been using her phone to communicate through the camera microphones, which allows her to move around the house unnoticed while Teddy continues to watch the camera on the wall. However, the watching stops when Teddy hears a scream coming from the storage room, so he rushes in there, ready to save his girlfriend. But it's too late. Rebecca is grabbing Claire by her hair, and as soon as Teddy enters the room, she slashes her throat. She then turns her attention to Teddy, managing to injure him in the abdomen before he retreats, and shuts the door between them. Walking slowly due to the pain, he exits the house and collapses on the ground, only to get up again when he sees Rebecca fleeing the basement through a concealed door in the wall. She carries the camera with her, and as he starts running away, she continues filming herself, while speaking like a genuine YouTuber. As he leaves a trail of blood behind him, making it easy for her to track him, Teddy desperately continues running and falls to the ground when he stumbles over something, the bodies of Lou and his cat. This drives him to push through the pain and and run faster, finally reaching the car as he starts to vomit blood. He tries to unlock the door but finds it locked, so instead, he pulls out his phone to call the police, only to be distracted by the sudden beeping of the car door. He attempts to open it again to no avail, even as the door keeps beeping continuously. It's Rebecca, who is pressing the button on the remote key fob to keep him occupied until she catches up with him. By the time Rebecca finally arrives at his side, Teddy is passed out against the car, so she sets down the camera and records herself taking the engagement ring from his pocket and putting it on before stabbing him. Afterward, she drives the car back to the house with the body in the trunk, and once inside, she cleans her hands before adding the ring to the collection on her necklace. Then she descends to the storage room, where she discovers the SOS video Claire made has finished uploading. Rebecca is momentarily concerned about the potential consequences, but those worries quickly dissipate when she sees the comments. All the viewers think this is a performance and clickbait, so nobody believes it. Smiling contentedly, Rebecca lets the computer continue playing the rest of their videos while she attends to Claire's body.